Am I the a-hole for refusing to keep a low profile of my recent engagement and refuse to come without him to mother's birthday to accommodate a jealous sister? My sister, 28 female, who has always been spoiled and cuddled by my parents, was dumped by her long-term boyfriend for another woman after he graduated from medical school this past summer. When she was looking forward to being a doctor's wife, thinking she'd be bathing in rubies and pearls, and then proposed to that woman after only a few months. I, 36 female, just got engaged to my better half, 43 male, 2 weeks ago. My sister is insanely jealous and competitive. She always has to be first and always has to win. I expected she'd be jealous but grossly underestimated it. She was apparently so overcome with grief she had a nervous breakdown and had to be hospitalized and then move back home with my parents. My parents have asked me to keep a low profile, have canceled my engagement party that was their idea until further notice, probably forever, and to come alone to my mother's birthday in a few weeks and leave my ring at home. They love fiancé, so it's not that they don't approve of the relationship. This was just to accommodate my sister. I said we are now a package deal, and if he's not welcome, I'm not coming, and I absolutely will not take off and hide my ring like some dirty little secret. And I told them they are uninvited from my wedding, and we are going no contact until they tender a sincere apology and revoke this ridiculous rule of keeping a low profile. I also said if this standoff goes through the wedding, we are going no contact for good. I've never missed a parent's birthday, so my dad is angry with me. And I called him a hypocrite because he wants no contact with his parents for excluding my mother over religious differences. He insists this is different, and I said no it's not, because he's expecting me to do something to my fiancé that he'd never do to his wife. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Info: are your parents also getting divorced to make things easier for your sister? Must be hard for her to be confronted with people who have been together for so many more years than her own relationship lasted. Of course not. Well, you should ask them too, since the sister can't be around people in loving relationships. Not the a-hole. If happy moments in your life trigger severe mental health issues for your sister, that is absolutely a problem that needs to be examined. Harsh though it may sound, on some level her struggles are her own, and it's not really reasonable to expect you to prioritize avoiding inadvertently triggering her in every situation. When my husband and I got engaged, we had lunch with his sister and a few friends the next day. At some point, his sister said unprompted that we would have to stop mentioning our engagement now because it would make other people unhappy. It's been nearly 8 years, and I'm still mad I didn't have the wherewithal to say something to her about it then. Yes, it absolutely was indicative of larger problems on the horizon. I suspect this will go against the grain, but no a-holes here. Your sister has had a nervous breakdown that required her to be hospitalized. She's not being dramatic or dying in a hill for the sake of it. She was almost institutionalized. I don't have the expertise to judge her for that. Your parents are focusing their resources and effort with their child who was hospitalized. It's desperately unfortunate for you, and you have every right to feel hard done by when this is your time, and every right to take a stand for your fiancé, but your parents are not a-holes for this. They have a deeply unwell child. That has to be their focus. They are being unfair for trying to enforce a stricture on how you must behave, and you are in the right to defend your fiancé. But I can't in all honesty label them a-holes for trying to avoid triggering their daughter who's just had a nervous breakdown. It sounds like you all need some cool-off time. I'm specifically putting aside the obvious competition issues between you and your sister. You make it out like it all stems from her, but you appear to be minimizing her nervous breakdown, again, for which she was hospitalized. They don't do that for no reason. I think there's some mutual toxicity between you and your sister, and that's causing you to center yourself and your engagement in this dispute. It's not about you. Your sister is mentally unwell. You're allowed to be upset that you can't have the focus when you just got engaged, and to defend your fiancé. Your parents are allowed to think that protecting the daughter who's had to move home with them is the priority. Edit. The way you're talking about your sister's mental health issues in the comments is pushing you closer into a-hole territory, to be honest, OP. Your obvious relationship issues with your sister doesn't invalidate her nervous breakdown. You tell OP that her sister's mental breakdown is not about her, but you should really be telling this to the sister. Sister's relationship troubles have nothing to do with OP's engagement, and it wasn't OP who tangled the two issues. It was the sister and her parents. The parents don't just focus their energy on their sick kid, as you say. They expect their other kid to not live her own life in a very normal way to appease her sister's mental illness. I highly doubt that this will support the sister's recovery. Not a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for publicly sharing my pregnancy and saying I don't care about my sister's miscarriage? I, 27 female, am pregnant with my first child. As expected, I am very happy, and I'm sharing news of my pregnancy on Facebook as I have several family members who live overseas. And also, I want to. This is my first child and I'm beyond happy. The issue is my older sister, 29 female, who is infertile and has given up on children after 9 miscarriages. I and my sister have never had a good relationship. She was sick as a baby and nearly died. The trauma of it caused my parents to favor her and place her above me, and I was always expected to make myself as small as possible to accommodate her. She always got a cake and more presents on my birthday so she wouldn't feel left out. I was told to hide my grades as she did very badly at school. I was also not allowed to display any trophies in my room because she might see them and get upset. My sister 100% leaned into this and made my life hell. She would make stuff up so my parents would take stuff from me and give it to her. I was even told to not go to my prestigious university, think Ivy League in my country, because it would upset her. When I chose to go, my parents cut me off, which was fine as my paternal grandparents who pretty much raised me took care of everything. Since then, I have been low contact with my family and only see them around a holiday at my grandparents' place. They weren't even invited to my wedding. When I got pregnant, I shared the announcement online and everybody congratulated me, except my parents and sister, who harassed me and reported my post so it would get taken down. I just blocked them all. I saw them again on New Year's at the grandparents' place, and when they saw me, my sister started screaming at my grandparents, saying how could they invite me after what I did to her. She was also screaming at my belly as if it offended her. She kept crying and saying how could I do this to her. I told her I did nothing to her. She went on and on about her miscarriages and how hard they were on her, but I snapped and told her I don't care. She's not my sister. She's my bully who tormented me my whole life. I owe her nothing. My life has nothing to do with her. This got my parents mad and they screamed at me too. My uncles ended up throwing them out and it ruined a party. My family said I did nothing wrong, but my parents' and sister's friends have been mass reporting my Facebook account until I ended up deleting it. Not the a-hole, and it sounds like you need to go from low contact to full no contact. Your pregnancy has nothing to do with her, and she needs to grow up. Your parents have enabled her to play the victim for her whole life. You don't need to contribute any time and attention to that. I only saw them during the holidays at my grandparents' place, but I don't think I can anymore. Not for me, but for my kid. I don't want her exposed to that. Definitely not, and you'd never be able to leave her in a room with them, even for a toilet break. They'd find ways to weasel in and manipulate her. Nothing sucks more than having to go no contact, but it sounds like this option causes less pain and stress for everyone. Best of luck with the rest of your pregnancy. I hope you celebrate and enjoy it well. And enjoy being a mother. Surprisingly, not the a-hole. Your parents sound like they groomed your sister to act like that, so ultimately they are the ones you should direct your anger towards. However, your sister being offended at you getting pregnant is completely childish and rude. I'm sure she had a really hard time emotionally with those 9 miscarriages, and my heart definitely breaks for her. But you are bringing a life into this world. She should be happy and try to mend things with you, in my opinion. It's more than unfortunate that your parents enabled her behavior and brought her up to be so entitled. Ultimately, though, she will have a harder life because of that if she doesn't already. I think you should take solace in that and potentially forgive her for what she has done to you in the past. If not for her, but for you. Your parents are complete a-holes, and they should 100% be to blame for this all, I think. Cutting you off because you went to college? It seems like they set you up for failure and you ended up thriving, so you should be very proud of yourself. They also pit you both against each other from the moment you were born, so it would be great if you and your sister could reconnect and not give them the satisfaction of that working. I have many sisters myself, and my dad definitely played favorites on my younger sister. But ultimately, we were able to bond through negative experiences facilitated by both my parents. I'm wishing that for you, or at least peace. Last story. Am I the a-hole for skipping my stepdaughter's wedding? I, 50 female, have 2 stepchildren. Sarah, 23 female, and Mike, 28 male. I have been in their lives since Sarah was 2. Sarah's mom, Kate, was a drug addict, and when Sarah was 3, she lost all her parental rights because of her addiction. Kate left after that, and didn't have any contact until Sarah was 17. That's when Kate reached out to us, saying she was clean and wanted a relationship with the kids. My husband, Rob, was against this, but I wanted to give her a chance. We met with her and it turns out she had been clean for a while, going to therapy and had a decent job. Mike was against meeting her, and to this day insists I'm his only mom and Kate is dead to him. Sarah was more open to Kate though, and resented Mike for rejecting her. I explained that Mike was older and witnessed Kate at her worst, so he has a different relationship with her, while Sarah only remembers her after getting clean. This issue still caused a lot of resentment between them and me. Kate blamed me for Mike being hostile and resented me. It didn't help that Sarah started rejecting me for Kate. She stopped spending time with me no matter what I did and stopped calling me mom. I told her how hurt I was, how she didn't have to choose. She could have us both. I never had an issue with Sarah and Kate. I only had an issue with being rejected. Sarah told me that while she appreciated me, at the end of the day, Kate was her and Mike's real mom. This crushed me. The final straw was when she didn't invite me to her high school graduation. I told her if she didn't want to be my daughter, then fine. From then on, she would be my husband's kid. Mike went no contact with her as well. 3 months ago, she came over with her fiancé, who we didn't even know existed, to invite us to their wedding. She said she wanted me at the bridal party, but I refused. I told her we hadn't had a relationship in years because of her wishes, and it felt uncomfortable for me to take on that role when I barely knew her now. She said she was sorry. I told her I wasn't interested. She got angry and said I had to be there because, and I quote, "What are people gonna think when both my brother and my dad's wife aren't there?" Gramps, her paternal grandfather, is gonna get angry too. I told her she clearly didn't want me there and only cared about appearances and being on her Gramps' good side because he's rich. I am not coming, nor am I having a relationship with her. She started crying and begging for forgiveness, but it felt like crocodile tears to me. After she left, she kept texting me trying to get me to change my mind. Then on the day of the wedding, she texted that she was gonna leave an empty seat for me and that I was welcome anytime if I changed my mind. I still didn't go. Rob is mad at me saying I ruined his daughter's wedding and made her cry, that all she wanted was me there, and this was a chance to fix our family. Mike, who is also no contact with her, is on my side. Edit. So I would like to clarify a few things. Sarah's relationship with Mike is no contact because she couldn't accept his decision to cut Kate off. At first, Mike didn't support Sarah and Kate, but I sat them both down. I told them they both have very different relationships with Kate. Mike remembers Kate as an addict while Sarah only knows clean Kate, and both of them are entitled to their view of Kate. Mike accepted this and was okay with Sarah/Kate, but Sarah couldn't accept it. She couldn't reconcile addict Kate with clean Kate, so she refused to believe Mike and downplayed a lot of this trauma. Sarah said things like it wasn't that bad, it was not her fault, she was sick, she gave you life, you owe her, etc. By the time Sarah was 19, their relationship became and is no contact. Kate also couldn't accept this and blamed me for Mike not wanting to talk to her. Regarding the wedding, Sarah reached out to me 3 months before the wedding, even though they had been engaged for a year, saying she wanted to come over. We said yes, and she came with her fiancé, who we didn't even know existed. Apparently, they had been together for 3 years. When I say she apologized, I mean she said, "I am sorry you feel that way," which to her was an apology, but to me it's not. She also referred to me as dad's wife, as in what would people say if my dad's wife isn't there? Not even stepmom, dad's wife. She also mentioned her paternal grandfather a lot and how angry he would be. In the 2 months leading up to the wedding, she texted me to change my mind, but all she talked about was the wedding will be ruined, grandpa will be mad, etc. Once the wedding happened, she blocked me everywhere. Then I found out today her fiancé blocked me too, even though I don't follow him. I only messaged him on Instagram because he has a public profile, but I have been blocked. Same thing with Facebook, even though we aren't friends on there. She clearly wasn't genuine in her attempts to reconcile. And even if she was, it doesn't mean I am obligated to respond. She was 18 when she stopped calling me mom, 19 when she went no contact with Mike and doubled down on her decision. A decision she has held on to for 6 years total. She made her choice. Just because she's young doesn't make her entitled to forgiveness or a relationship with me. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You were the one to give the first push in getting Rob to allow Kate to see them. Sarah basically slapped you in the face for everything you did. You even told Sarah you were fine with being just a motherly figure, but she took it further by resenting you? Rob has some audacity to say you ruined the wedding when you were the only one who helped bring up these children, then not getting any support while you were blamed for Mike's choices and rejected. Did Kate go to Sarah's wedding? She and her entire family were invited, and she was also in the bridal party as maid of honor. Not the a-hole. She dropped you quickly enough for her real mom. You know, the one that did literally nothing for the hardest part of her life, then strolled in when it was convenient. She threw away 15 plus years of care like it was nothing. You can't reverse that at a drop of a hat to full a seat at a wedding. Husband is the a-hole for not seeing that she kicked you to the curb without a thought and expects you to be okay with it. Although I can see he's in a difficult position. He is in a difficult position, as both of his kids are not talking to each other, and he was also started to be rejected by Sarah in favor of her stepdad. With Kate and her husband, she has it easier since there is no resentment there. But with her dad, she also has to face me and her brother. So, it's easier for her to spend more time with her mom's side of the family. That's very difficult, and sorry for the position you are all in. I'm surprised, though, that she can't see the position of her brother and her dad. She would be too young to remember her bio mom at her worst, but the others obviously can. It's great she can forgive and move on, but that doesn't remove the past and doesn't change how much you personally have done by stepping up to be her mother. I try to explain to her that Mike simply has a different relationship, but she doesn't accept that. Sorry to say, but she sounds quite self-centered. Hopefully she'll come around. But it's going to have to start with her offering a massive apology to all of you, and to you in particular. Am I the a-hole for not taking in my parents' adopted son? I'm 28-year-old male. I had average childhood. My parents provided everything but nothing extra. And when I was 17, they decided to adopt another child, Chris, 7-year-old male. I went to university at 18 and moved out, and my parents told me they could not financially help me because they have another child now. I admit I resented that. I had to work and go to college. For the first 2 years, I couldn't get into university dorms, so I had to rent, which was much more expensive. I can't count how many times I hadn't eaten for 2 to 3 days. It was horrible, and I consider that the worst experience of my life. It got easier after I got into dorms, but I still couldn't afford anything extra, like going to the party and such. In all these years, I slowly distanced myself from my parents, and I don't see Chris as my brother. To this day, we see each other max 2 times a year, even though we live 25 minutes away. They don't even know I married my partner. This happened at Christmas dinner. In the middle of dinner, my parents told me that Chris is going to university in the same area I live in and asked if he could stay with me. They would pay for rent and expenses. Now, I live in a townhouse in the middle of all faculties. I'm in prime spot. I don't rent rooms, but if I would, rent would be highest in the city. I was triggered when my parents said they would pay for him. So I said that they can't afford to rent a room in my place and to look elsewhere. All family there were shocked by my response, and my parents were somewhat taken aback. Since then, a couple of family members told me I'm an a-hole for not helping my family. My parents texted me to reconsider and help my brother, and that he is very upset his big brother won't help him. I told them he is their son, but he is not my brother, and I have no obligation towards him. Even Chris texted me and begged me to reconsider, but I just ignore him, and everyone else for that matter. The problem is my partner, who is good, kind soul and is starting to get to me. So, what do you think? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your partner and everyone else needs to back off. Your parents didn't care about you guys being family until they saw money to be made. To your partner, I think you need to be very, very clear. Having this person in my house will hurt me. I am not interested in letting you or anyone else hurt me. Yes, you may need to let her in more so she can understand your perspective. I made this mistake with my husband always pushing back for a better relationship with his family. But after 16 years together, things have revealed themselves. I don't push back anymore. I should have listened from the start and simply taken his word about his family. Not the a-hole. Your parents or other family did not help you. You don't have to help them. Your adopted brother is not your responsibility. They are willing to pay for him, so he will be okay either way. I agree with this. OP, you need to ask them and the family why was it okay to cut you off from any assistance, let you starve, and offer no support. But it falls on you to provide all this for Chris? Now, I agree Chris probably didn't understand at a time how they treated you. Maybe you need to talk to him. He's at an age that he'll understand. Maybe not agree, but talking to him like an adult and having a conversation about what you went through would be a good first step. Same with your partner. They need to understand that this being pushed on you will cause a lot of hurt and resentment of all parties, including your feelings towards them and your relationship, if you don't feel supported and solidarity in your decision. This is your family, so as much as they are entitled to an opinion, you should have final say. Your parents or Chris are more than capable of a plan B. And remember, all you had to do was say, no, it's not possible to have them or anyone else live with us. Sadly, I think offering up that rent would be too expensive gave them hope or the glimmer of opportunity that it's possible but with a price tag, unfortunately, which will lead to the barrage of calls and texts you don't want, thinking bullying you into it will be the ticket to get what they want. You're feeling be damned. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother I will help him at his children but not his wife? My brother and I were adopted into the same family. He's white and I'm a dark-skinned black woman. Our parents were an interracial couple, and our family had some unique challenges over the years. But our parents did their very best by us and tried their hardest to get us as much information as possible with our birth families. It was a little easier with mine because I was orphaned, and I had two older living birth relatives who were just incapable of caring for me and needed care themselves. My brother had a very different story though, as he had no information at all. When he was 20, he met his wife and they married after 2 years of dating. She always gave me bad vibes. Around the time they got engaged, he told me she kept bringing up his birth family and how he should find them before the wedding. I had told him he didn't have to do anything, but he knew mom and dad would help him and he'd have my support. Then she went behind his back to find him via DNA, and it was a crap show. But for some reason, he forgave her and decided to meet the people, which she was thrilled about. It was around that time she told me to get lost, because he had sisters who were actually related to him and not a, you can guess the slur, who always made his life more difficult. She told me I was crazy if I thought I'd be in her wedding photos. She also said our parents should get used to having only one child. My brother had already started to pull away by then, and because I was hurt and angry, I never told him what went down between his now wife and I. I chose to not attend his wedding, and I know from our parents that the day was very messy. 6 years of no contact happened, and then he reached out and apologized for letting anything come between us. We have been back on speaking terms for over a year now. It took a while, but we are doing so much better. I always loved my brother, but was hurt by the stuff that went down between us and me and his wife. A few days ago, my brother's family ended up in a shelter. He lost the job he had for many years and took a huge pay cut and a new one, at the same time that his former landlord decided to illegally kick them out by changing the locks. My brother did contact a lawyer, but nothing is as fast as they show in TV and the movies, and they have no place to go. I live in the same city, which would allow him to keep what job he has now at least, and so he asked if they could stay. I said I would help him and the kids and they could stay, but his wife is not welcome in my home. He told me he would take that, which did surprise me some. His wife is angry. She came after me about separating her children from her and how unhealthy it will be for them to see her in a crap hole, while they're safe and comfortable with me. She called me all kinds of names, like petty and witchy and an a-hole. But it was the comment about the kids that got me questioning. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Nope. Let's call her what she is. A racist. She can't call you names to your face and encourage your brother to cut ties, then want to be looked after because it suits her. I would have told him and would still suggest you tell him now. Because if she is bringing up the kids to have the same attitude, then nothing gets resolved. You have set a boundary. Keep to it. Opie should be careful. She doesn't know how much brother has changed. He might try to sneak sister-in-law in, or she might constantly be visiting because she wants to be near her children and husband if the brother and kids move in. A lot of guilt tripping can happen for the sake of the children. Not the a-hole at all. That woman is hideous, and I hope this is the first step in your brother divorcing her and taking full custody of the children. If you haven't already, it's time to explain to your brother what she said and why you refuse to let her into your life. Provide a safe and loving home for your brother and his kids. Be a model for a loving and secure family relationship. It may be the first time they see a woman give them consistent loving attention, because I doubt their mom is doing it. Yeah, I would have told a brother the minute it happened. Yeah, that I never told him is some TV drama BS. Oh my god, I'm about to cry imagining my brother allowing me to marry some racist witch. And then going no contact for 6 years because he thought the conversation was too awkward. I kinda believe the brother has to know she's a horrible person at least. Maybe not exactly what she said, but you know she's made some crazy comments about Opie in front of the brother. Not the a-hole. She can't expect you to help her after she treated you like garbage and outed herself as a racist. She brought this 100% upon herself, and she also sounds like a bad influence for the children. She's the a-hole, not you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my son's wedding after he denied his stepmom a mother-son dance? My son Jordan is 27. His stepmom Natalie came into his life when he was 16. His mom had passed away when he was 13. Jordan never really considered Natalie as his mom. He refused to let her get close and shut down every attempt to have a close relationship. He even moved in with his aunt months after Natalie and I got married. As years went by, they started reconciling and seeing each other more often, and he invited us to his wedding, which took place days ago. We got there and the atmosphere was great, until later when I found out that Jordan had denied Natalie a mother-son dance and instead chose his aunt to dance with him. Natalie told me this minutes later, and I couldn't help feel irritated and quite upset. I decided to get up and leave, and we both left. I got a call from my family after they saw me leave, and Jordan called later, and I told him why I did it. He got mad and said it was his wedding, and that his aunt is basically a mother to him, and said that Natalie shouldn't expect special treatment. I said it's not special treatment, but a tradition. Besides that, he hurt her feelings for no reason, other than for the sake of being malicious. He got offended and accused me of ruining his day and causing a scene. Now the family sided with him and said I shouldn't have left no matter what. Now for the comments. You're the a-hole. Your wife has never been his mother, and he has every right to not have a mother-son dance with her. I strongly suspect this isn't the first time you've chosen your wife over your son, and it's probably why he moved in with his aunt. If you want any kind of relationship with your son going forward, I very much recommend both you and your wife apologize for throwing a tantrum at his wedding. For Opie's son to have moved out after only a few months, I have a feeling the reason is because Opie and his wife were trying to force him to accept the stepmom as his mom right from the start. And after all that happened, Opie's son invites them both to his wedding, and Opie has the audacity to demand a mother-son dance? Then they leave when they don't get their way. Wow, there goes any chance of them mending their relationship. You're the a-hole. Sounds plausible. I've heard similar stories on here. The Opie's keeping suspiciously quiet about why his son doesn't like Opie's wife. As it stands, she's not Opie's son's mother. She didn't raise him and he doesn't like her. Yet Opie and his wife expect her to be given the mother-son dance. The sheer entitlement of it is astounding. Take it from me, my wife has never mistreated him in any way whatsoever. Matter of fact, she even contributed towards his education, although he has no idea, because if he knew, he wouldn't have accepted it. That right there should tell you how he feels about her. He doesn't see her as a mother, so why would he do a mother-son dance? Seriously, this wasn't done to hurt your wife. Stop trying to force a relationship that doesn't exist and made very clear to you. Wow, you're the a-hole. Way to make your son's wedding all about you and your wife. You already said that he never considered her as his mom. So why in the hell did you expect him to invite her to do something that is traditionally for mothers and sons? For all intents and purposes, his aunt is a hell of a lot more of a mother to him than your wife. You are selfish, entitled people. Disgusting, and you should be ashamed. Welp, any progress that his son and wife made in developing any shred of relationship has been flushed down the drain. Opie's relationship with his son will never recover what it was. He left his own son's wedding. Jesus Christ. If he thought shunning his son at his wedding was okay, it makes me wonder how many times he has done it in the past. Thank goodness his son has a loving family outside of his horrid parent. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to parent my 28-year-old sister because her behavior is my parents' faults and their problem? My parents had my sister Connie, 28 female, when I was 15. And they acted more like grandparents to Connie than actual parents. They spoiled Connie and didn't enforce boundaries. They outright encouraged her to misbehave because they thought it was cute/funny for her to throw tantrums or show people the finger. And my parents have continued to enable Connie well into adulthood. They allowed Connie to drop out of high school because she wanted to get a GED and enter college early. Connie never actually got a GED nor returned to school, and she still lives with my parents and refuses to get a job. My parents will try to nag Connie to earn her GED or get a job, but she just won't, and there's no real consequence if she refuses anyway. If Connie wants something and my parents refuse, she'll scream her head off like a child until our parents give in. My mom is now in her late 60s and my dad just turned 70. And they claim they just don't have the energy to deal with Connie. My parents had a grandparent day with my children and took them to the mall. They brought my children back to my house, stayed for dinner, and then asked to talk with me privately. They explained that they can't deal with Connie's behavior anymore and wanted Connie to move in with me and my family so that I could essentially become Connie's disciplinarian and re-raise her to be a proper adult. I told my parents no. I have 3 actual children. I don't have time to parent a 28-year-old toddler. Nor do I want Connie's tantrums and screaming in my house. My mom tried to make the excuse that I need to step in because she and my father just don't have the energy to deal with Connie. I was frank with my parents that Connie's behavior is their own fault, and now it's their problem. They weren't always in their late 60s. They had years to step up and stop enabling Connie. I'm certain there's boot camp or other program that exists to get adults like Connie to grow up, but that's their responsibility to arrange and look into. Some family members have reached out to tell me that I was being selfish and childish because my mom and dad were both great parents to me, and now it's supposed to be my turn to support them. Most of these family members understand why I don't want Connie's tantrums and fits around my kids, but said that I should still help my parents look into other options. I don't deny that my mom and dad were great parents to me, but it's still not my responsibility to be a parent to my adult sister. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Tell those family members who are giving you grief that they are welcome to step up. You are too busy raising your own children. Luckily, my aunt-in-law and her children are looking into options for boot camp/programs to get adults to grow up. But they are still telling me that I should be the one helping because I'm my parents' child and Connie's sister. We may be family, but I still recognize that Connie is my parents' responsibility. Not the a-hole. Keep your distance. Tell the relatives. It sounds like they are on the right track, but stop blaming you. They are looking to create more family drama and placing blame at the wrong door. Not the a-hole. WTF. She's 28. She can learn to live on her own. Only on paper. She dropped out of high school and has probably not learned at all what independence and responsibilities are. Not just her education development was set back, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were set back in other ways, like mentally or neurologically, compared to others their age. She's going to need therapy to confront that and try to undo that mess. I honestly feel bad for her for how bad Opie's parents failed raising her. Instead of everyone's trying to set her straight other than slight nudges, they just continuously enabled it. Unfortunately, she's got a lot of growing up to do and fast, but it's not Opie's problem. It's his parents. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. In what world is having a 28-year-old move into your home because they are spoiled, entitled, and hard to be around a good solution to the problem? It would not be a good environment for your kids to be around a person like that, and it's good that you did not even consider it. If the family members trying to guilt you into it care so much, why don't they let her come stay with them? Am I the a-hole for wanting to move away and not looking after my parents? I, 27 female, have 2 older siblings, 41 female and 39 male, who have taken advantage of my parents' kindness for years. My parents have tried to help set my siblings up because they were high school dropouts and didn't know what they wanted to do in life. They opened up restaurants and bailed them out of debt, only to get into bigger crap later on. My sister has finally grown up and has a good business now, but she spends too much. She even tried to borrow $50,000, but I knew she won't pay me back, so I said no. She then tried to make me feel bad by saying I was a horrible sister. My brother is still an idiot and has racked up $500,000 of debt, and sends his letters to my parents' house thinking they'd bail him out again. Sadly, my parents are in no condition to work anymore due to injuries. I didn't dare ask for financial help from my parents because they were severely stressed for my siblings. So I went on benefits when I went to university. Every time I saved up a few thousand, a debt collector would come knocking because my brother was severely late on payments. So every time the debt collectors came, I paid what I had saved over and over again while I was studying because I felt sorry for my parents. When I graduated, I had to move for work and came up with an agreement with my parents where I paid in advance for their mortgage and they pay me back in a lump sum, almost $30,000, when I came back. 18 months later, I came back and they did not keep their end of the agreement. They tried to justify their actions by saying that they were leaving their life insurance and house with a large mortgage to me when they die. I was depressed for a long time because that money was to help with living expenses when I go back to study. Fast forward now, my parents told me they will be canceling their life insurance as they can no longer afford it. I said that's fine, but then asked them, which one of your 3 kids has caused you the most grief financially? To which my mom answered, your brother. So I said to get him to look after you, and that it's their fault for investing in the wrong child. Now they are mad at me, saying that it was a waste raising me because I'm not a dutiful daughter. To which I retaliated by saying that they stole the money that was meant for studying from me. My mom tried to downplay this and said it's in the past and that I should let it go. I'm planning to move away, even to a different country, and to go low contact. Despite this, I'm even willing to send a small amount of money to them once in a while, which they probably won't even appreciate because they are not grand gestures like my sisters. So am I the a-hole? Edit 1. From the 30,000 incident, I stopped financially helping my family, which was about 7 years ago. As for the debt collector's part, it happened when I was a naive and very sheltered teenager. My brother pressured my mom to take some of the loans out in her name. I helped out because my parents are both depressed, and my mom wanted to end herself. Also because I was scared that it could escalate to us losing our home. Edit 2. I am financially and mentally okay. I just wanted to know if I am the a-hole for moving out and not wanting to look after my parents in their old age, which will be end of this year when I buy a house. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Oh gosh. First of all, stop paying for your brother's debt. That can get you into more trouble. And second, go no contact or low contact with your family because they are no good for you. Sorry, I forgot to mention, but I stopped about 7 years ago. And I will go low contact when I moved out end of this year when I buy a house. Your family doesn't seem to care a lot about you. Protect yourself and don't put yourself on fire to keep them warm. I know, I feel they only care if I give them very expensive stuff. I bought my mom an Arden handbag for her birthday, but she didn't even use it once, but will use the Louis Vuitton handbag my sister got her, even though it's fugly. I took back the Arden handbag and will be using it for myself because it actually looks sexy. Not today, Hall. Stop paying them money? Stop entirely. That's a horrible idea. They're using you and they will continue to use you just like your brother has. Sorry, I forgot to mention I stopped financially helping about 7 years ago. But you said you may continue to send them some money after you move. Don't do that. Please don't do that. After reading all these supportive comments, I've decided not to. If they are starving, I'll just get food delivered to them, I guess. Maybe. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not taking sister-in-law's kids on vacation with us? My husband's sister has 2 kids, 10 and 12. We don't see them often because they live a few states away and their father has primary custody. My sister-in-law has a habit of imposing on us. She'll call us while she's driving to our house and tell us she'll be staying a week or 2. So it wasn't a huge surprise when she called my husband a couple days ago to say she was sending the kids to our house for 3 weeks, once school lets out. Apparently there's some drama at their dad's house, so he doesn't want them exposed to it. But she rents a room so the kids can't stay the night more than 1 to 2 nights a week. The only problem is that one of the weeks she plans on sending them to us will be on vacation at Universal. She said, great. They've never been. They'll have so much fun. My husband explained that isn't an invitation. He's letting her know she needs to choose different weeks. She asked why the kids can't just go with us, and we explained we're driving, so there's no room, and our Airbnb has just enough beds for our family. She offered to drive them down herself and have them sleep on a couch. We said that could work, and told her the cost of the tickets we bought were $380 each, so if she sends us the money, we would buy another 2. She asked why she would send us the money, and we explained these are her kids. She would need to pay for them to go. She said that was ridiculous. If we have the money for this trip, then we're obviously well off and can afford to pay for her kids too. We told her we saved for years for this trip. We have a strict budget and we cannot afford an extra $800. As it is, We'd have to figure out how to add more to our budget for extra food, which we didn't ask her to pay for. She called us selfish and said we'd get to explain to our kids why they didn't get to go to Universal and their cousins did. My husband hung up on her, and shortly after got a call from his brother saying pretty much the same. He said $800 won't break us, but their sister would never be able to save that much. He's not entirely wrong. We could put it on a credit card. But the whole reason it took so long to take this trip is because we are paying exclusively in cash. We just got out of credit card debts a couple years ago and don't want to go backwards for something that isn't an emergency. We've given both his siblings money before for things like rent and car repairs. But this is different. Are we the a-holes? Huge not the a-hole. She sounds so entitled. $800 is a lot of money to ask for on a whim. Seriously, that's my mortgage payment for the month. And his brother also needs to butt out of it unless he's going to pony up that change. Don't you love the way Opie's sister-in-law and brother-in-law seem to think that Opie and her husband have an extra $800 in their back pockets? But the concept of saving for what you want is completely foreign to them. Leeches. Sometimes the posts on this sub astound me. Not the a-hole. You aren't obligated to take your sister-in-law's children on your family vacation, and you certainly aren't obligated to pay for it. Would it have been nice if everything worked out that way? Sure. Sounds like those kids have it rough. Does it in any way mean you should pay $800 and overburden your family? Of course not. Sister-in-law needs a talking to about boundaries and what your family can and cannot take on. Blood ties aren't an excuse to take advantage of someone. Not the a-hole. Just refuse to watch those kids at all. It sucks their mom has no concept of notice, money, or how entitled she's being, but don't enable her at all. Flat out refuse. Call the police if she drops kids off after you refuse to watch them. If the kids are in an uncomfortable environment and we can keep them away from that for a few weeks, we're 100% happy to do that. But we just need them to come a little later. None of this is the kids' fault, so we don't want to punish them. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for leaving my friend and his 2 kids in another state? So my buddy's wife ran out on him and he was pretty distressed by it, saying he didn't know what to do. He wasn't sure how he was going to raise these kids by himself. I felt bad, so I told him I would move across the country to help him out and help raise the kids. My one stipulation was, if you start dating someone and move them in within the first month of me being there, I would leave the next day. He was buying a new house. I was just helping him raise his kids while he got on his feet, and then after a couple years, I was going to move out. Fast forward to us both moving in, and he's been talking to this girl on Tinder for about a month. The first day we move in, he brings her over. I had certain areas of the house I had made arrangements in, organized things the way I wanted, and when he introduced her to me, he said these are his areas, don't mess with anything here. As soon as I was out of earshot, she started telling him how she wanted to reorganize those areas. After about a week of her being there, I talked to him and asked, did you just decide to move her in here or does she have her own place to go to? And he said she was going back home that night. And she did. For one night. I was paying about half the cost of the house, but he kept pushing my stuff further and further into my room. Furniture that I had brought. Different ornaments. Until finally everything I owned was pretty much in this tiny room while his girlfriend brought all of her stuff over. I told him this isn't what I agreed on, and if she was going to be living here all the time, I was leaving because I don't feel like being a part of Full House. He told me I wasn't in a place financially to move out anyways, and I should just get with the program. Well, he was partially right. I didn't have the money to leave, but I did have the credit score to get a loan. When he and the girlfriend took the kids one weekend, I rented a U-Haul and moved all of my stuff out. By the time he came back, I was gone. He texted me saying how I screwed him and the kids over. How was he supposed to pay for everything without me there? I told him to figure it out with his girlfriend since she's the one that's helped him so much. Edit. The reason I told him if he moved someone in I would leave isn't because I thought he would. It's because my last roommate did the same thing and moved in their partner without telling me. I got a call while they were driving back from picking up the partner's things from a couple states over to ask if they could stay. It was something along the lines of, hey, we're on our way back from the States. I told my partner to come move in with us and we grabbed all their things. We're almost back. It's okay if they move in, right? And for those who worried about the kids, I made sure there were plenty of people around who could check up on them and keep them happy and healthy when I left. It was a couple months after his wife left him that he started talking to this girl. There was a situation where he was already leaving the job he was at. There was no reversing the situation. And he was moving back to his hometown to be closer to his parents. His wife was supposed to go with the kids first. But that wasn't happening obviously, so the kid stayed with his parents while he tied up loose ends. I told him I was leaving and he needed to get his stuff together, about a month before I actually left. I was going to tell him beforehand, but there were still a lot of things I had paid for that I wanted to take with me, and I knew they were things he and his girlfriend liked having around. I didn't want to deal with them ganging up on me and getting the police involved. From my last experience when the police are involved, if the person who is staying in the residence after you leave say that you're trying to steal something, it doesn't matter if your name is on the lease. It's now their home, and everything in it is theirs, unless you can prove in court that it's not. I had already lost out on a couple tens of thousands of dollars. I wasn't willing to lose that last little bit of what I had. He told me I wasn't in a place financially to move out anyways, and I should just get with the program. Not a day-haul for so many reasons, but this part just really seals the deal on him being a gaping a-hole. You moved states at great financial risk to help him, and he turned around and tried to financially abuse you for it. This exactly. Get with the program after violating literally your one rule? Get the hell out of here. Not day-haul. I swear this sounds like Buddy's wife left him because he was straying. Mighty big coincidence that he moved. Found some random gal, got her all moved in before he could blink, and she took over the house. Good for you for moving out. As is pointed out in another comment, his friend went right to financial manipulation in order to bend Opie to their will. Decent chance that previous wife was in a similarly abusive situation but more vulnerable. Getting out of a horrible situation is hard. Getting out with children is harder. Priorities as a parent are not taken into account with the statement I know. Not day-haul. He wanted to have his cake and eat it. If you start dating someone and move them in within the first month of me being there, I would leave the next day. He moved a girlfriend in. You moved out. Sounds like the deal you made was crystal clear. And sounds like Opie knew he had a habit of straying. Why else make such an oddly specific ultimatum in advance? Usually, it's suggested that you wait 6 months before introducing a new person to your kids, much less move them in. Not day-haul, by the way. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for threatening my mom that I'll stop paying the house utilities if she won't respect my sleeping pattern? So I got hired on a remote job that pays 3 times more than my job before the lockdown. The problem, however, is my working hours are 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Because of this, I became a nocturnal person, which was never really a problem to me because my brain is more active at night. My mom, however, didn't like it. She made a rule that all of us should eat together at breakfast every Sunday, which means I have to wake up at 7 a.m. on weekend. I can't because I normally sleep around 4 or 5 a.m. and I can't force my body to sleep early. Not to mention I'm still working from Friday night up to Saturday morning. I've been telling my mom not to disturb me on Sunday, but she's always like, no, you sleep early on Saturday so you can join us. But I can't. And no, I'm not resorting to sleeping pills or whatever. So earlier, I got annoyed with her, which prompted me to threaten that I'll stop paying the house utilities if she won't respect my sleep schedule. Due to the pandemic, my parents' business went bad, so they're barely meeting the ends. So my financial assistance is a huge help for them. Mom got mad. Dad called me selfish and ungrateful for letting me live at their house rent-free. Funny, it's because it's not even free since I'm paying a lot for the utilities. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Tell her that you'll be happy to have breakfast together as a family when you wake up at noon. You can call it brunch, or you can call it a compromise, whatever she prefers. Not day-haul. They can be adults or they don't get their life subsidized by you anymore. Not day-haul. If you can, move out and let them sort out the mess you leave behind. To be honest, I could. I just can't because of the COVID situation in my country. Probably once I got my vaccine. Start saving the money and doing the research, and getting everything ready. Not day-haul, but come up with a compromise, like a family lunch or dinner instead of breakfast. I always eat lunch and dinner with them since lunch is technically my breakfast and dinner is my lunch. So what is the difference between that meal and every other meal? Control. First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for pressing charges when my stepson took something my daughter inherited from her mother? I'm male 47, been with my wife for 2 years. She has a 21-year-old son and I have a 14-year-old daughter from my previous marriage. My late wife passed away in 2014 and she left a few things for our daughter, including a gold jewelry set. Her mom was devastated she didn't get to give the set to our daughter on her wedding day. So I keep it in my closet since it's expensive and my daughter is too young to have it, and I'll hopefully gift it to her on her wedding day. Last week, we were sitting in the kitchen when my stepson was hesitant to ask me something. We're in good terms, but have our fair share of arguments. He said his fiancée was taking something from his mother's and my closet, saw the jewelry set and liked it very much. He asked if he could borrow it so his fiancée can wear it at her cousin's wedding. I found this unacceptable, and I told him his fiancé had no business being in the bedroom, and that the jewelry isn't mine, it's for my daughter. He asked me if my daughter will agree to let him borrow it if he talked to her. I told him not to even talk about it again. He got all pissed and said things I do not remember. Saturday night, when he and his fiancé were at the wedding, I discovered that the jewelry set was gone. I told my wife and we looked all over the house. I called my stepson to tell him about calling the police because I really thought someone stole the set. He said there was no need, that he borrowed it and will return it after they get back from the wedding. I yelled at him and told him to come back with it right then. I kept calling him till 12 a.m. when he told me to stop calling and that he'd bring it in the morning. I couldn't sleep that night. I felt so terrible. In the morning, he showed up at 10 a.m. He didn't bring it and started stalling, saying he forgot and he'd bring it the next day. At this point, it was clear he gifted it to his fiancée and was stalling. I got so mad. I told him I will be pressing charges if he doesn't return the set today. We got into an argument and my wife said his fiancée was the one who wanted the jewelry set. But he was the one who took it, and it's not even mine. It's my daughter's. Which made it worse because I'm responsible for whatever happens to it. His grandparents berated me after I told them this and got mad and defended him when I said that I will be pressing charges. He stole and needed to be responsible for his actions. He didn't respond to my final calls, so now I've given him one last chance, then it's over. I pressed charges today. They're saying calling the police was extreme and cruel. They're all convincing me to back down. Am I the a-hole for pressing charges? He was replying to me sarcastically when I said that I'd get the authorities involved, and he didn't take me seriously. His mom said she'd try to talk to him, but I had enough of him stalling, hoping I'll just let it go so he can make his fiancée happy. I feel like an irresponsible idiot. I can't even look at my daughter without feeling frustrated and infuriated. I'm hurt, but what's worse is that this is my daughter's property that I couldn't take care of. My wife allows them into the room, although I told her not to several times. They're not kids, and there should be some boundaries. I just needed to mention that they were in Europe. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole and don't back down. A 20-something step kid is stealing your daughter's heirloom. The family are all flying monkeys. Piggybacking to say that my mom died in 2015, and all I have left of her is her jewelry. It means the world to me. OP would be the A if he backs down from family pressure. This is straight up theft. And his stepson is human filth for taking something that doesn't belong to him and is an heirloom. He stole from a 14-year-old girl. He deserves to suffer the consequences of his actions, especially when OP gave him many chances to give it back. He's not, because he thinks OP will back down. Do this for your daughter, OP. She's already gone through enough. She doesn't need to lose a part of her mom all over again. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You gave the son every opportunity to return the jewelry. Let the cops sort out the culpability of son and fiancé. And get a safe deposit box. Mom's and the grandparents' attitudes show that this isn't going to be the last thing that goes missing. I'd be considering a safe deposit box and a lawyer. The fact that she wasn't calling him to return it immediately would be enough in my eyes. Not an a-hole, but be prepared. This may be the hill your marriage dies on. It would be worth it. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for agreeing with my partner's decision to make my daughter leave when she's 18? I, 36 female, have a 17-year-old daughter. 3 years ago, my daughter and I moved in with my boyfriend of 9 years. The house is technically in both of our names, but I have not worked for the last 9 years, so he's the reason we still live there. He has not gotten along with my daughter since we moved in, and he at one point earlier on said he was very wary about being married and becoming a stepfather since he is already a father of 3 kids, 2 of whom, 15 female, 13 female, still live in the house. He and my daughter fight a lot, and his 15-year-old in particular takes her dad's side in all their fights. During their latest argument, my boyfriend said he finally has had enough. He called me in and told me that he hates drama. He said that his kids' welfare comes first, so if my daughter's attitude was contributing to their, especially his 15-year-old's apparent unhappiness, something has to give. He said he's always had a no a-holes policy in his business, but that extends to his family. He said when my daughter turns 18, we could give her leeway to find a new place, but ultimately, this is his house, not hers. He said that he's saying right here, right now, that he does not want her in this house after she's an adult. But he said my name is on the house too, so he asked if I agreed or not. I honestly didn't know what else I could say, because it was his house first, and in many ways it was his house more than it was mine. So I told my daughter that I'd help her find a job if need be and a place, but I really couldn't do anything about it if my partner had made up his mind. He interjected and said he definitely had, and having an extra adult mouth to feed wasn't cheap. My daughter said I was a sellout, and that then I should get a job to help her with getting an apartment, even though I spent all my time trying to run the house smoothly. Am I the a-hole? It seems sudden, but I think we can reasonably say that it was a long time coming. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. You've been with him for 9 years. No ring, and he has clearly said he's wary of giving you one? Yet you choose him, someone who won't commit over your daughter. Your name is on the house, it's legally your home too. You gave no resistance, just went, that's fine honey, let's kick my own kid out. His kid's welfare takes priority over your own kid's welfare? Blended families take work, and it doesn't seem like any of you have been to therapy together if the fights are as bad as you're making them out to be. I think their relationship dynamic is really horrible. It seems like she's completely dependent on him and doesn't want to get a job. If he is justified in kicking Opie's daughter out, depends on how she behaved. If she is aggressive or violent or emotionally abusive, he and his kids have a right to feel safe and comfortable in their house. If he is being an a-hole, controlling or overbearing with her, it's his own fault she doesn't like him and fights him about it. They've been together for 9 years. He has known her, the daughter, since she was 8, a child. For her to not like him so much that they're fighting, after she's known him for since she was a little kid, I highly doubt she's the problem. And for it to continue for 3 years since mom moved in with her, it's not her that's the problem. The boyfriend is an adult. Adults should be more emotionally mature than teenagers in general. To not be able to even get along with someone is known since they were very young, and for it to go on for so long, she is very, very unlikely to be the problem. You're the a-hole. This girl is 18, and it is 2021. The worst pandemic we've seen in 100 years, and the tightest margin young adults have ever witnessed in terms of cost of living and wages. You would be setting your daughter up for a very unpleasant life if you ditch her at 18. If she is bringing these or other junk in the house, then I can see it. But in attitude, you two need professional help. Big time. Also notice Opie's age. She was 19 when she had her kid. How old is the boyfriend? He sounds older and like he has control of things. You're the a-hole. I can already see the post, if Reddit is still there. X years ago, my daughter's boyfriend threw me out on the day I turned 18. He died a few weeks/months ago. They weren't married, there was no will, and all his money went to his own children. Now Eggy wants to reconcile. Let it be clear, she never worked. She just sponged off him. But I laughed at her in her face and said, too little too late. Would I be the a-hole if I get her served with not only a cease and desist letter, but also actively pursue a restraining order due to her harassing me for money because family stands together / helps each other? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for being mad at my stepdaughter? I, 39 female, have a stepdaughter, Molly, 16 female, who I'm not close with, and a son, 15 male, and a daughter, 3, with her dad. Molly gets excited and also upset very easily. She's also in drama and takes it very seriously, which is good. Her room is right above her half-sisters. Yesterday, the cast list for her show came out, and she was in her room squealing and stomping and jumping around. She woke up her sister from her nap, and I went up there to inform her. She was defensive, saying, "Well, it's my room, and the cast list just came out. I'm the lead." And I responded with, "Actually, it's your father and I's room, and we'll let you live here. My parents did this with me if I got too rowdy." Skipped to dinner last night and she's talking with her dad. She asked if she could go to school and talk to the director about choreography and help out, and then go to Hobby Lobby and then go to her cousins. Before her dad could say anything, I talked to her about her sister and how she woke her up, and I said that she should watch her tomorrow. Her and her dad both gave me looks, but I'm serious. Her dad said no, Molly can go do those things tomorrow, but I want her to see how much of a chore watching toddlers is, and how she undid an hour of work on my part. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Since this keeps coming up, I've known her since she was 12. My son is mine. I don't know the relationship between my son and my husband since I never see them together, unless they're eating, since some of you needed it. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole, and I see clearly why your relationship is not close. Glad her dad overrode your nonsense. You're the a-hole. The normal reaction would be, "Congratulations, well done." But could you come downstairs and tell me quietly, please? Why is the 3-year-old napping? Surely she's too old for naps. Opie doesn't have custody of her 15-year-old. Wonder why? She is under no obligation to watch her half-sister. Opie is trying to control the house. You're the a-hole. We let you live here has a different meaning to a stepchild you aren't close to, and a child you love and are committed to. My parents said it to me is totally besides the point. Where your parents your parents? You didn't take a second to try to build this relationship you say needs work, namely, congratulations. You want her to care about you and your child, but didn't take a second to show you care about her. Also, she's 16, so they let her live there as they are legally required to. Young children are notoriously easy to wake up. Why is her room under anyone's room? You're the a-hole. You're seriously angry at and trying to punish a 16-year-old theater kid for being excited that she accomplished landing the lead? Okay, few things. My parents did the same "we allow you to be here" type crap. It's damaging. It never made me feel like I had security or safety in my home or living situation. Knock it off. Secondly, just ask her to keep it down. Does your son also get punished with toddler care when he's too loud? The last story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for unintentionally hurting my stepmom's feelings?" I have a stepmom, one who is good to me and my dad. I actually like her. She's been my stepmom since I was 10, and now I'm 16. She cares about me more than I care about her, and she sees me as one of her kids. She has a son and a daughter who are close in age to me, but I never saw her as a mom. I am so glad my dad has her and we have a pretty alright relationship. She is pretty respectful of my mom's memory. I know she avoids my room for the most part because that's where most of the photos are, but it's no biggie. So recently, she found out that I have corrected people who assume she's my mom. Because a loudmouth girl I was doing a school project with, via Zoom, decided to blurt it out in front of her. My stepmom's daughter was there, and she lost it. My stepmom sent her to her room after she refused to apologize. The same day, right before bed, my dad and her said they would speak to her daughter and that I hadn't done anything wrong. I asked my stepmom if she was okay. I told her to open up because I could see she was hurting. She admitted it hurt her feelings a little that I correct people who make the assumption, but she also understood. She asked me if she could ask me something. I said sure. She asked me how I felt about her really. She told me there was no pressure or judgment. She just wanted to hear. I asked her if she would be honest if I told her. She assured me she would, and when I told her I liked her, and was so glad my dad had her and that I thought she was a good person. She admitted she was a little sad. Like wasn't love, but she was also really glad I felt that way about her too, because she would hate it if I didn't like her. I told her I was sorry that what I said to others had hurt her feelings, and she told me there was nothing to apologize for. We both appreciated the honesty, and I thought that was the end of it. Except her daughter has been acting like a jerk to me ever since, and keeps saying I hurt her mom's feelings, calling me a witch all the time, and saying she deserves more than I give her because she's been my mom whether I like it or not. She then told me that her mom is better than my dumb, precious mommy could ever be, which she was grounded for saying. But I do feel bad still that my feelings hurt my stepmom, and that what I said to others hurt her. It just always stings when people assume she's my mom. For me, it's like my mom being slowly erased when people started saying someone else is my mom, you know? I need to know. Am I the a-hole, guys? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. It sounds like the problem lies with your stepsister, not your stepmom. You made it clear that you two spoke about things and came to equality and respectful understanding. I would clear the air with the stepsister and do your best to move on respectfully. But don't compromise on your choice to hold boundaries with regard to where you stand with the relationship with your true mother and your stepmother. Communication is key. Good luck. The stepmom is hurt, but she's not holding that against Opie. She's being understanding, unlike other stepmoms we've seen on this thread. It's the daughter who can't let it go. I hope the daughter comes to understand that people are allowed to have different feelings. Absolutely not the a-hole. You sound like a lovely and caring person with a very good relationship with your stepmother. It's not rude to correct facts. She's not your mother. She's your stepmother. That doesn't mean she's not important to you or that you don't like her. It's just a fact. I'm sorry your stepsister is a big jerk. I hope your dad and stepmom can get her poor behavior under control, but none of this is on you. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.